Hello everybody, my name is Kai, and welcome back to Warframe. Today we will be taking a look at, in what is my opinion, the strongest frame in the entire game, Protea. And I really mean it when I say that. The builds that I will be showing you today, yes, builds. Protea is one of the most versatile frames in the entire game. You can play her in so many different ways, and all of them are absolutely top tier in pretty much every category you want, while also having some of the best abilities and most fun DPS rotations of any frame that I've personally played, alongside what is probably the best passive. So let's get right into it, why don't we? Her main DPS ability on most builds is her second, Blaze Artillery. When casting Blaze Artillery, Protea will spawn an auto-targeting turret that will deal heat damage to enemies and shoot at them all by itself. You can have up to 3 of these turrets active at once, and while active, they will shoot enemies at a rate of 3 shots per second within a 130-degree cone in front of them. These turrets have a damage scaling mechanic unlike anything else in Warframe at the moment. As they shoot enemies, you will build up a combo meter on the back of the turret. As this combo meter increases, so does the turret's damage. The turret also possesses infinite body punch through, which means that it can hit multiple enemies with a single shot. This is important because the combo can build much quicker, subsequently leading to more damage. It is a 100% damage bonus per enemy hit, and this damage is all heat. That is very important, but we will cover it later. If the damage of her Blaze Artillery scales with how many enemies it hits in a single shot, which obviously increases by shot, it makes sense to use grouping abilities on Protea, such as Larva or Ensnare. Both of these work fantastically, as they group up enemies really tight, which allows the infinite body punch through on the turrets to really scale well and absolutely nuke big groups of enemies with ease. Now, like I said earlier, Protea's turrets deal all of their damage in pure heat. And this is very important because it allows us to make use of one of the best Archon mods in the entire game, Archon Vitality. Archon Vitality gives you health, but it also has a special side effect where status effects from abilities that deal heat damage will essentially be doubled. Using Archon Vitality on Protea 1 increases your damage and also frees up mod slots since you don't need to run as many things for strength as you had to before. And this is very important because while it does boost the damage of the DOTs that your heat turrets will be dealing, what is the best way that we increase the damage that heat procs do? Heat Inherit. Heat procs do not have a cap to how high they can go, but the very first heat proc applied to an enemy will determine the stats of the following heat procs, such as ones done by Protea's Blaze Artillery. This means that if we mod a weapon such as the Epitaph for as much heat damage as we can get, and especially a Bane mod, we can significantly increase the damage that Protea's turrets are doing. Against a group of enemies without Heat Inherit, obviously her turrets still put in a lot of work. But if we decide to prime them first with an Epitaph, which is the best weapon for Heat Inherit in my opinion, the damage ramps up significantly faster, and it's pretty obvious that this is a huge DPS increase. Modding for Heat Inherit on the Epitaph, which I already said is the best one, is pretty simple. Use as many heat mods as you can. Obviously can't stack primed heated charge and normal heated charge together, so Scorch and primed will do just fine. We build for as much multi-shot as possible using Galvanized Diffusion and Lethal Torrent. Galvanized Diffusion actually works on the Epitaph with this because priming enemies with a heat DOT and then killing them with said heat DOT counts as kills for the Epitaph itself. The Expel mod is for whatever faction you're playing with, obviously for heat inherit purposes, Sure Shot for more status chance, and then Auger Pack to increase the damage of our heat at base because that is one of the things the first heat proc determines. In short though, just make sure you hit enemies with an Epitaph modded like the one I just showed you, and then use your turret to exponentially increase your damage. But besides the very clear power of her Blaze Artillery, she has 3 other abilities to use that are also very strong, starting off with Grenade Fan. Grenade Fan has 2 functions, the first of those being a fan of 3 slash grenades. Now, these slash grenades have a very big aura that scales off range and will deal slash damage to enemies, while also proccing the slash status effect. Obviously, this is very strong as it puts enemies into a continuous stun animation. These grenades are actually so strong that when you combine them with Roar, which will increase the damage that the slash ticks do, you can make a meme build where you practically sit in one spot, just toss grenades to all 4 areas where enemies are coming from, and just delete everything, even on the steel path. But the secondary function of these grenades is even more powerful. Moving in range of one of these shield satellites will attach it to you or even your allies and companions and give you a portion of your shields instantly while also recharging your shields until you hit the overshields limit for your frame. These shield satellites also provide you with an extra 2 seconds to your shield gate. When any Warframe shield breaks, you will gain an extra 1.3 seconds of pure invulnerability. But if you are under the effects of a shield satellite, besides them regenerating your overshields, you gain a full 3 seconds of invulnerability, which makes it a lot harder to die on the steel path. These also affect companions as well, which is good because companions, specifically Panzervolpophilas, are crucial to most Protea builds, because of her third ability, Dispensary. On cast, Protea will unfurl the supply cache from her utility belt. Now this cache can spawn 3 things: health, a universal ammo pack, and finally, energy. The Dispensary also has an extra pickup chance, which would just essentially double whatever comes out of the Dispensary when you pick it up. This brings us to the 4th and final ability on Protea's kit, which can either be Larva or Ensnare. Both of these abilities obviously excel at what they do, which is group enemies, but they both have their sets of benefits and drawbacks. Larva groups enemies much tighter, which increases damage scaling much quicker, but Ensnare has the benefit of being able to be recast and also working on acolytes. It's really your pick, as both are phenomenal. The build on our Protea today focuses heavily into range and moderately into strength and duration. We have very low efficiency on this build because of the interactions between Equilibrium, Dispensary, and the synth-set mods on a companion, especially the Panzervolpophyla. Synth-set mods allow you to pick up health orbs even if at max health. Equilibrium gives us energy from these health orbs, which Dispensary can give at up to 220 per orb. This allows you to practically spam your entire kit on Protea to your heart's content, as long as you stay near the original location you planted down your Dispensary. It's going to keep dispensing pickups for you, which means that on top of never being able to run out of ammo on ammo-heavy weapons like the Kuvazar, the Brahma, the Ogress, you also have infinite energy, because while you are getting energy from these health orbs, you are also getting actual energy orbs, and it turns her into one of the best sustain frames in the whole game. Finally, last but not least, we have her passive, which is in my opinion, one of if not the best passive in the whole game. Every 4th ability cast is granted an extra 100% power strength. This means that if I cast 3 abilities and then cast a Dispensary, I have a much higher chance of getting the extra drop chance, which will double all my pickups. As you can see here, the last 3 drops that I got from this Dispensary were all doubled because of the extra 100 strength. But besides that, again, there is the huge emphasis on range to increase the range that we can group up enemies with Larva or Ensnare in this case. Ensnare does have a larger radius, but again, Larva groups enemies tighter, making the damage build up much quicker. We do have Rolling Guard slotted in here because even though we have practical invulnerability because of our shield gating from shield satellites, it's just nice to have this to cleanse status effects that Xmas units can put on you. We also do build for duration, pretty decent duration on Protea, because duration is damage. As your turrets last longer, they can shoot more enemies, which means if they last longer and hit more enemies, their damage continues to add up. So we build for duration by the use of prime continuity and multi-efficiency. Now, I do actually have 3 red Archon shards slotted in for duration that are giving me an extra 30 up from 155. These are not necessary in the slightest, and my other 2 are casting speed, but that is also not necessary. We do use multi-augmented here too, because this pushes us above 200% strength paired with growing power. This gives us above a 50% chance for the extra pickup on Dispensary, while also increasing the recharge rate of our shield satellites and the damage of Shrapnel Vortex. The damage on Blaze Artillery is nice, but is not needed because of how its damage scaling works, making duration a better stat than actual strength here. And finally, because we are at 45 efficiency, our abilities are very expensive to cast, so we want to have a large energy pool to do that. I use Archon Flow because I do not have Primed Flow. Obviously use Prime Flow if you have it, as the bonus given from Archon Flow does nothing for Protea. We've already gone over why Archon Vitality is so good on her, so no reason to cover that again. And that is why, in my opinion, Protea is the best frame in all of the game. Her shield satellites provide you with practical invulnerability all the way up to level cap, because shield gating is the only way that you can do level cap currently. Her blaze turrets have absolutely ridiculous, pretty much AoE, because the way that they clear rooms is absolutely nuts. And her Dispensary is one of the best sustain abilities in the entire game, also being her helmet ability, which means you can put it onto any frame and you instantly just have access to the easiest way to sustain yourself. Now this is a little bit of a shorter look at Protea, not as in-depth as you could go, or sometimes I do want to go, but I haven't uploaded in a minute, and I also think that doing another look at Protea, even if this is very similar to the other videos on her that I've put on my channel, would be important, as she is really strong, and anybody who's not playing her, I really suggest that you go give her a try, because yeah, she's just that good. But with all that being said, I would like to remind everyone again once more that I have started a Patreon, so go check that out with a link in the description if you would like to help support the channel. I do make all of these videos myself. It's kind of why there's been a little bit of a lack of uploads in the past couple days. I've been very busy, so any tier of support there, even the cheapest or the most expensive one, really helps your boy out, and I appreciate all of you, regardless of whether or not you go and decide to do that. But if you do, there is a list of benefits that you do get, one of those being an active say in what gets made on this channel. You make a request and I will fully edit and record the entire video and post it within a month, probably even shorter than that, of you asking. But that's not all, so go make sure you read the full list over on Patreon. Again, link in the description. I do plan to keep branching out into other platforms, especially with how iffy the YouTube monetization has been lately. But yeah, little rant over. I hope again that you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see all of you in the next one. Peace!